come here, I got a secret for you. You've never done anything wrong in your entire life. You've never made a wrong or bad decision. You've never had bad judgment. All of these things assume control, but there is no control. Control only exists in the thinking mind. When we think we're somebody doing something, and we think we're in control, and we think we know. All these attachments keep us trapped in lower limiting perspectives and make us easier to control and manipulate in the illusion, and to keep us specifically in the illusion, which is the purpose of the C is stimulation, aggravation, and information. Our controllers use this, right? The beings who control humanity to suppress us, to feed off of us energetically, use the C of stimulation to keep us caught in the cycles of thought. Because when we're thinking, we're attached, we're identifying with the ego, with the doer. We think we're somebody doing something. So we get caught in things like what? Like sin and judgment and regret and shame. All of these things we get caught in about the future and the past. All of these things we get caught in assume control. But there is no control. How do we know there's no control? What happens when we stop thinking long enough? We become the observer and we realize we're just nature running off. We're just chemistry and conditioning. So everything we have ever done, that was the only thing we could ever do. You can only act based off of your chemistry and your conditioning, your nature running off. We could have never done another thing. There was never going to be a different way. So when we think of like regret and shame and guilt, we could have never done anything else. That was poor behavior. I shouldn't have acted like that in the past. Why did I act like that? Why did I choose that job instead of this job? Or going to college or not going to college? Why didn't I just do this and that? That's all traps of the illusion. That's traps of the thinking mind, thinking you're somebody and thinking you're in control. But when we take the highest perspective, which is what? Higher self, which is the center of the circle, allowing all things to take their course, not thinking. When we take that perspective, all these things wash away. All of them wash away, all of our attachments, because you're severing the identification with somebody doing something, with the doer. When you stay present, you're dissolving the ego and you're allowing higher self. That's what surrender is. You're allowing the divine to work through you. You're a vessel for God's eternal love. I am God's eternal love pouring forth. This is what happens when we practice presence, when we surrender, because that's what presence is surrendering completely to our cosmic beloved, saying, I love you and trust you, infinity. And you're shutting off the thought machine, the thought rager, because most of the times our ego's having a slam in a house party, and the divine's knocking on the door, and the divine's like, blah, blah, blah. Hello, yo, dude, homie, what's going on in there, dude? I've been knocking at this door for years, and I'm just slamming on it, and you were just having this banging ass house party, dude. You gotta clean it up, dog. You gotta stop thinking. So eventually we stop thinking, all the thoughts and the ego leave the house party. There goes our identification with a somebodyness. And then in comes the divine, and the divine flows through us. This is what happens when we practice presence. And this is why it's the most important thing to do, right? Because there's really nothing to do but to do nothing, which is stop thinking. Because thinking keeps us caught in the illusion and makes us easier to control and manipulate. Because we think we know. Anyway, back to, you've never done anything wrong. Ever. You cannot make a wrong decision. So when we take this perspective with not only with ourselves, with others, it makes things a little easier, right? It takes some pressure off, because instead of always being trapped in this pseudo stress and like anxiety and depression about the past and the future and how what other people are doing or things that are unfolding, we become the observer, and we observe it all. We realize it's all just nature running off. So we don't need to judge ourselves for doing anything you ever do. That's why when it comes to things like bad habits and addictions, You just observe. That's all there is to do. And by observing, you're surrendering, staying present. And this will also bring in things like purification. As we practice presence and purification, it will correct all imbalances. So there's nothing to do but to do nothing, but to be the observer. This will correct all imbalances. So we can let it all go. Just always relax, keep relaxing, keep letting it all go. Oh yeah, I don't have to think about the past. I don't have to think about the future. And you catch yourself, you say, no, I'm good, dude. I'm good, thoughts. Cut it out. Get out of here, thoughts. I need the divine to come in. Let's just bask in the eternal present moment of God's love. I am God's eternal love pouring forth. Namaste.